The crypto markets are explosive with gains, and this is as revelations about the Blackrock Bitcoin ETF and the traditional mainstream media controlled by special interests are showing their bias with a 200 times overstatement of the figures used to finance terrorism by cryptocurrency. Today is an absolutely massive moment for crypto, where for the first time in a long time, it feels as though the bulls are starting to break through those long bear market resistances. You're seeing the institutions gear up for a new Bitcoin-fueled future, and you can tell that certain stakeholders are very, very scared of what's going to happen next if crypto enters into a wild bull run while the rest of the economy is struggling. First things first, let's get to the Bitcoin ETF, which we all agree, and the biggest Ernst & Young fund managers agree as well, is going to trigger massive demand from institutions. That's right, if Bitcoin, which is the best performing asset class to date, again in 2023, it was the case in 2021 and 2020. Look, Bitcoin outperforms everything in its good years, and this year is no exception. And this year, most of all, there are so many portfolios that need just a little bit of relief. And so it might not seem like a lot, but an extra 30-40% compared to other investment instruments is certainly something that every single trader, every single fund manager is looking at right now. They want access. They want access, and they're going to get access to massive portfolios. But check this out. We now have two things from the latest iShares, which is BlackRock's S1 amendment. This just came in. They've attained a CUSIP in prep for launch, and they may be looking to seed with cash this month, which is earlier than they thought. Now, according to Eric Balakunis, who's the resident ETF expert here on Twitterland, BlackRock starting their ETF spot amendment here. They stated in their spot amendment here that they're seeding in October, right? So they're seeding it with cash right now, right? Spooky. Don't want to read too much into that, but it's great new info. And in his mind, it is noteworthy, right? So BlackRock is getting ready to put cash into this instrument. And this is before the ETF is wound up. So do they know something that we don't? Yeah, they do. They know a lot that we don't. But what we know is that at a certain level, BlackRock opening the gates here will allow for a ton of new liquidity to come in seamlessly into Bitcoin. And it will most likely, as we like to think, drive up the price. It's hard not to see it doing that as gold and Bitcoin are gearing up for massive pushes. And this is in the face of a new form of global instability. This is as the United States is looking to put hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of aid through to these new military conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine. And you better bet your bottom dollar that at a certain level, that is going to start impacting the amount of money in existence, the amount of money that needs to be printed. So should we be so surprised as we see Bitcoin with an almost 4% day smashing up here to 31K? Obviously, let's be real. If you look at this Bitcoin chart here, you can see we're at some pretty significant resistances levels. This is like the 32K level. I'll get out a more significant chart here, but it's a big resistance level, this one that we're at right now. So if we break through it, we'll be looking at 37K as the next level. But for now, we just have to hope we bust through this. Otherwise, this could be a reversal point. And if you have not been paying attention, if you're under a rock, you're probably missing out on the fact that Chainlink has been an absolute monster, up to $10, breaking out of a 2-year-long consolidation. You also see some monster moves coming out of Solana, which is tickling that $30 range. I think it was at 31 for a minute. Yeah, it was at 31 earlier today. You can see the prices on some of these tokens are starting to really move. Solana was about 16, 17 bucks just a few weeks ago or months ago. And so, yeah, you're seeing some pretty massive moves here out of certain coins in the market. And I get it. If you've been watching crypto for the last 2 years, which let's be real, if you're watching EllioTrades right now, you've probably been here a while. You're probably feeling quite a bit of FOMO. This is something that I think everyone needs to do, which is that when the market dumped back to 25K, that was higher than I really wanted to be buying because I was wanting to buy as much as I could in the low 20s, see if the market came and revisited some lows. But in the end, what I did was I tracked the market and I said, hey, look, this is a pretty significant capitulation from 32K down to 25K, massive leverage wipeout, completely oversold on the daily RSI. Going back, the only times we've been there were the FTX collapse and other massive collapses within the space. It's time to hit that buy button, even if it feels a little uncomfortable. And so writing down a strategy, having rules, and then just executing it unemotionally is probably the only way to really get through this phase of the market. Because I'll tell you this much, you can totally wait until the market ticks up and goes full bull mode into the 32, 35, 45K on Bitcoin, really feels that bull momentum and altcoins start ripping. The problem is that once you're in that mode, things move so fast, it's really easy to start feeling like you're always chasing. And so my personal strategy, you do what you want to do, is to accumulate things that I think are definitely going to be part of that next run and to do it in a way sort of methodically, to have a system and to just have bags ready for when the market does start to move. even if it feels uncomfortable for a while. And that requires sticking to a plan unemotionally, because the best times to buy, those opportunistic buys, are always going to be at moments that feel a little uncomfortable. And so this is the challenge I think we should all have, which is not trading emotions like today, ooh, green numbers, let's buy, but trading a system. Remember, I told you guys I'd be accumulating Solana. I told you guys where I started buying it. I told you when I was going to keep buying it. And now today I watch it go up. Do I wish I had even more of it? Yeah, there's a part of me, but I'm still on the ride, right? I'm still allocated. And so this is the system, to write down a plan and to execute it without emotions. And if you can do that, that's a huge evolution, right? Because whether it's Bitcoin or real estate or whatever it might be, the markets will use your emotions against you. And so if you can have a system where you look at your plan and you execute it as unemotionally as possible. I mean, one day, hopefully they'll have AIs that can do this for us. Literally just assign the plan to the AIs and go away, because the AIs will do this without the emotion of the market. And it's probably going to be a huge step forward for your average investor. But like I said, this is a huge moment. And is it a surprise to you that in a moment like this, we now see more evidence coming out showing how the Wall Street Journal overstated their terrorist financing figures by about 200 times in their attempt to link crypto to what's going on in Israel and Hamas. And here you can see a thread by Nick Carter. I think this is really important, right? He goes through and he shows the people, right? I'm not going to name them, but you can go to Nick Carter, see his thread here. He talks about the people who were responsible in publishing this misinformation, which this isn't just a bad article. This article was used by congressmen, specifically Elizabeth Warren and other folks like that are part of this anti-crypto army. And they used this misinformation to try to send letters to the White House to effectively lobby policy that is very negative for crypto to get put through. And so you see how the misinformation is very purposeful. It's very, very malignant. And when combined with these political forces, it becomes a huge problem. And so it's really important that we keep our eyes open and realize the story that's developing. Crypto is extremely resilient. It is, in my opinion, showing signs of being exactly that safe haven asset class that we've been wanting it to be for our entire times here in this industry. All the stories that you've heard about Bitcoin being the new digital gold, well, those are in the process of being proven out right now. And with it, we could see a massive turning for the crypto industry. But it's not going to be painless, right? The power system that be, the mainstream media, the banking systems, the people who hold the keys right now are not exactly rolling over and letting this happen. And this is part of the story. The fighting against crypto, like we've seen here from regulatory bodies, from mainstream media, now active politicians. This is part of the then they fight you phase, because at a certain level, once this ETF goes through, once investors start really harnessing this stuff and using it for what it was made for, which is protection of wealth and debasement of currency and these new open decentralized applications, it's going to be a wild new world. In my opinion, just getting back to basics here, this is huge. We're seeing the development of crypto at light speed right now. And if you're here, you're super early. You need to make a plan. You need to execute it unemotionally. And in my opinion, that is the way to win. You could obviously wait until everything looks perfect, and you very well might do well that way. But once that Bronco starts bucking, it oftentimes feels like everything's passing you by. And so in my opinion, my strategy is to allocate slowly during the bear times so that the bull can be a little bit less mentally strenuous, a little bit less anxiety inducing. As you watch buys that you made several months, maybe even years ago, continue to appreciate with gains. Like I said, I'm going to be doing my first in a new series, which is going to be a Web3 gaming exclusive focus video in the next few days, going into how I view this industry and how I'm positioning myself. It's going to be a really, really fun one. We got a ton more content for you. So smash the like button if you're excited. As always, if you don't like this video, hit that dislike button. Check out this video popping up right here. It's very good. And I will see you very soon on the next episode.